Hey guys, I'm John Fryer. Welcome to Fryer Funds, welcome to my kitchen, and welcome to the Fryer Feast series. In this series, we took $15,000, we're investing it into individual companies, with all investment decisions made over the weekend to be executed on Monday. This is for people who work 9 to 5, who don't have time to trade during the week or make decisions during the week, so we focus on the weekend execution and go from there. Now, I want to point out, this is not financial advice, this is not legal advice, consult your own advisors, and make your own decisions. But with that said, let's dive in, see what happened this week, and where we're going from here.
This is the first update for the Fryer Feast, and I've got to say, wow. Thank you, everyone. I had 22 stocks waiting to be claimed for me. So if you signed up with the link, thank you very much. If you didn't and you still want to set up, use the link down in the description. You'll get your 2 free stocks. Now, it's the weekend of April 25th and 26th. This week, the portfolio didn't move very much. We were down about 0.5%. So some things got cheaper, but overall, the entire market didn't move very much. I also tend to buy just randomly during the day on Monday, and I happened to buy on the highs on Monday. My bad. Tuesday was a bad day too, so we were down a little bit further then, but throughout the week it kind of went higher. So if you'd like to see the actual execution, where my cost basis and everything is, I've set up the spreadsheet to be shareable. I'll put the link down in the description. You can see everything I've bought, what I'm doing this week with what trades we're going to do, how many shares I own, what the cost was. If you'd like to break down into the spreadsheet, the link for the Google Sheet here is down in the description. Now, these next 2 weeks are going to be really, really busy. We've got a lot of earnings, a lot of big company earnings like Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, GE. All the big companies, I think, really are reporting within the next 2 weeks. So it's going to be a really busy next 2 weeks. Expect a lot of movement. And the final note I want to point out in our portfolio is Snapchat did report this week, and it really took off. It spiked. Not quite enough to take profits yet. It's up about 20%, and the rule of thumb is you want to take a little bit of profit, if possible, around 25%, which we probably will do once Snapchat raises a little more, although we might move that into the crock pot. So before we move down, I want to take a look at the Webull account here. You can see where we're at. We're down a little over 0.5%, about $90 from the week. You can see all the positions here, which, yes, there's a lot of companies, but if you watch the previous starting video, you'll understand why, because a lot of these companies are kind of the same sector, the same play, the same investment, but I'm spreading it out between companies because these aren't sectors that I know a lot of, so I kind of picked the best that I could find and invest in those with just a little bit in each one. But let's take a look and see what we're going to do this coming Monday on 4/27. So for the crock pot, the long term, I'd like to start building an AMD position. Last week it was a little higher than I'd like, so we didn't start with that. They do report this week, however, Tuesday afternoon, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to buy 3 shares of AMD on Monday. We'll see how it does during the week, and then next weekend reevaluate and see if it's time to buy more or wait for a bigger pullback if it really jumps up. But if it really jumps up, I don't want to miss it completely, so we're going to go ahead and start. We'll buy 3 shares on Monday of AMD, which will put us about 1% of the total portfolio. So if you're following along, if you don't have 15,000, if you have a different amount, you can do the same investment ratios if you follow the percentage rather than the number of shares. So with the frying pan, the shorter term investments, at home, last week we talked about investing in Tencent because of everything they do. However, it's a Chinese company, and Webull isn't allowing us to invest in that because of the exchange it's on. It's really weird. So if you're using Robinhood or another brokerage, you could have invested in Tencent. But in this case, I couldn't because of Webull, so I just left it alone. So this week, we're going to replace that with Activision. They've kind of steadied off. So I'm going to buy 2 shares of Activision, going just under 1% of the total portfolio. And that'll be executed on Monday as well. All these will be executed on Monday. The next one is iHeart. Now, they actually dropped pretty hard this week. So we can lower our average cost basis. I'm still expecting them to have good growth in numbers. And once advertising becomes big again, I guess, because so many companies aren't advertising, iHeart and all of the advertisement agencies that's where they make their money, kind of are struggling. So iHeart did drop, but we're going to buy a little bit more, 6 shares, to get our cost basis lower. Now, the big news for this week was oil. Oil went negative for the first time in history. Not actual oil, it was actually the oil contracts, future oil contracts, and it was because of the ETF USO. It's kind of a unique situation with that. Feel free to go out and do more research, but I believe USO will bounce back in the short term. So I'm expecting a good gain on this. So we're going to buy about 0.5%. It may take a little longer. It could drop more. So I'm starting with a small amount because of that. But it could pop up this next week and turn into a good quick gain. So we're going to buy some USO. With that though, OXY and Schlumberger, SLB, those two both actually grew in our portfolio because oil dipped but then shot back up, allowing companies such as these two and Chevron to go up. Now Chevron also reports earnings this week. I thought about buying Chevron, but it's a little too high, a little overbought right now in my opinion. So we'll wait, see how they report, and then go with that next weekend. Now the airlines actually dropped pretty heavily this week. So I want to buy a little bit more because AAL and UAL, American Airlines and United Airlines, both report this week. So I wanted to get a little bit more in there. SPR also dropped pretty heavily along with Boeing, but Boeing's too expensive to buy anymore at this point because of the percentage ratios. So a rule of thumb, if a company, or in this case, if the airline investment drops 5 to 10%, you probably want to buy more unless something fundamental changed to get your cost basis lower. So I wanted to put that in here because airlines did drop pretty heavily this week. Let's see actually how much was it. Airlines dropped 11%. So we are going to buy a few more airlines, fill that up with our percentages so that they're all about 0.5% of the total portfolio. Next is banks. Banks kind of dropped off a little. We're going to buy one more share of Citi. American Express did report this week. I think it was Friday, actually, maybe Thursday night. It didn't move much, which is a good sign because they put a lot of money on the side. Yes, earnings got hurt, but it looks like they're going to be okay. So I think we were kind of capitulating here with banks. So I want to buy one more share of Citi and go from there. Retail companies got hit this week. I looked through the companies we already own. None of them I really want to grow a bigger position in, but I do need to add a little bit more to retail. So I was looking at Bed Bath & Beyond and decided we'll do 0.5%. So I want to do 0.5% in Bed Bath & Beyond, but they are a little high right now, not too high. So I'm going to do half of that this weekend, see how they do, and then probably buy more next weekend. Now, there's room in the retail sector, and that's why, which is a new position if you haven't, or if you are following along. So a little bit of Bed Bath & Beyond there. Did they report this next week? Seems like there's some sort of reporting in the retail sector, but I don't think it's Bed Bath & Beyond this week. So 0.25% of the total portfolio on Bed Bath & Beyond, and then we'll probably buy more next weekend, especially if it drops pretty heavily this week. Cruise lines, they dropped a little, not much news. So we're just going to fill up what's left in terms of percentage in the cruise lines with NCLH. Just buy one share, get it to 0.5%. And then real estate, we're going to buy one more share of PK, which is the hotel and resorts real estate REIT. So not real much news. They did fall off a bit this week, so we can lower our cost basis. So I'm going to buy one share of that. So that's the total of all of the actions I plan on taking on Monday. If you're doing this with Robinhood or a brokerage that allows you to queue it up to be executed for you Monday morning, you can do that. I'm using Webull, which doesn't allow that, so I have to execute sometime on Monday. Last Monday, I happened to execute towards the top of the market just because the way things timed out with everything else going on, that I actually bought towards the high. So if you actually bought in the morning, you did better than I did, even if you did the same company, same trade, same shares. Congratulations. We'll see what happens this Monday. I may end up timing it better. We'll see. That's okay. No big deal. And that's everything I have for you this week. As always, this is not financial advice. This is not legal advice. Consult your own advisors. Make your own decisions. And thank you again for using my link to sign up. If you didn't, go down to the description, sign up, set up your account, and feel free to start investing, either following along or not. As always, not financial advice. And we'll see you guys again next weekend. Thank you.